Welcome to SI Now. It is Friday. It's June 9th. I'm Maggie Gray alongside Robin Lundberg. To everyone watching on Facebook Live, hey, glad to have you rolling with us as we close out the week. And Robin, let's start with the NBA. LeBron James talking to the media on Thursday. What was your biggest takeaway as the Cavs are down 0-3?
Well, what I thought was most interesting is he was asked about the comparisons between what he did in Miami and what Kevin Durant did by joining the Warriors. And LeBron said this in a complimentary fashion. He said, if I was an owner, I'd want to add everybody and that Durant sacrificed some of his game. But he did say that he went to Miami and built something. He, of course, Wade and Bosh, and that Durant joined something that was already built, and that was the difference.
Okay, so going off of LeBron's comments, it makes me wonder, is what the Warriors are doing the most impressive thing you've seen or the least impressive considering, Kevin Durant joined an already made squad?
Really good question, Maggie. Obviously the truth is somewhere in between here, but if I have to choose between those two, I would go with the least impressive. Because if we were to, let's say, get into a hot tub time machine and go back to around this time last year, we might be asking, are the Warriors as good as the 96 Bulls? And that is last year's Warriors. And then they added Kevin Durant. So it's like Superman joining the Avengers or something along those lines. Of course they're great.
See, I think that what they've done in the postseason makes me lean towards most impressive, because it's one thing to, slice through the regular season where teams are tanking and, teams are just flat out bad. But when you get to the postseason, it's the best of the best. The fact that they have not dropped a game yet in the postseason makes me think that, yes, well, we had extremely high expectations for this Warriors team, and it looks like they are definitely going to meet them. The fact that they would not drop a game, that they would make history in that way, makes me lean toward the fact that they are the most impressive.
Well, it is 3-0, and we did just coronate the Warriors. So what's left to do but make up scenarios regarding the future of the NBA? It's time for some hoopatheticals.
Okay, we're reimagining the future. Robin and I are both going to draft a starting five with one caveat. This is the team we think will be the best over the next 10 years. So age and health all play a factor. We determined who will pick first in this draft in the fairest way possible. Rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. And I'm happy to say it was a sweep.
You dominated.
I'm really good at that game. So I will choose number 1, and with that first pick, I am taking Kawhi Leonard of the San Antonio Spurs. Why? Of course, he's just 25 years old. He's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a Finals MVP. He does average 25 points per game, so I love what he does for me on the defensive side and the offensive side. Kawhi Leonard, it was almost a no-brainer, actually. I'll take him with the number 1 overall pick.
With my first pick, I went with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I got the name. I was just going to say Greek Freak. Factoring in the age part of this conversation, he is so young. He is so long. Perfect for the modern NBA.
Okay, with the second pick, I decided to go with Karl Anthony Towns. You're going to notice a real easy pattern with my team as we keep going. I need a center entering his 3rd year, 25-12. I do need a rim protector, even in the future NBA, where everyone's just going to launch threes from all over the court. But Karl Anthony Towns, his skill set, his versatility, I think he's going to be one of the best players in the league. He's my second pick.
I was looking for a point guard, and yeah, there are some great young ones, but Steph Curry's not that old. For at least the first half of this deal, I'm going to be doing pretty well. And the gravity he brings with his shooting, it is such a weapon. Give me Chef.
Okay, and my third pick, I went a little bit of a reach here, so let the Facebook comments start pouring in. I went with Andrew Wiggins. Now, he's 22. This was my high ceiling pick. I like the perimeter defense. I was just talking about how in the future NBA, it's only going to be threes. So I need him on the perimeter. Now, listen, don't look at the advanced stats, okay? But the good stats, even the advanced ones, they are rising. They're going in the right direction, I should say. Things like true shooting percentage over 50%, things like that, all steadily rising. So yes, it's a stretch, but give me Andrew Wiggins.
You gave me my opening right there. I could have just taken the Warriors, by the way. We're seeing it play out in real time, and I will take a Warrior next. Kevin Durant, KD, that length going alongside the Greek Freak in the front court, that shooting going alongside Steph Curry. Good luck, Maggie.
I know, your team is looking better now, but I'm looking at the future. And with that in mind, I need a point guard, so I'm going to go with John Wall. He's 26 years old, entering his 8th season, so obviously a veteran, but he understands, what it takes in crunch time. He's a 4-time All-Star. I need assists. He can give me 10 of them along with 23 points per game. He's going to be a steadying influence on my team along with Kawhi, so give me John Wall.
Every team needs role players, even super teams. I'm going to look for a super role player here in Jimmy Butler. He's still young. I want him to work on his outside shot a little bit. He can still hit it, but I need him to become knocked down there. But he's my defensive stopper on the perimeter. I'll take Jimmy Butler.
And rounding things out, as I said, you're going to see a pattern with my team. My 5th pick has got to be Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn. First, I got to get him away from the Knicks, though. That has to happen for him to develop properly. Doesn't look like they have the personnel in place, but he's my stretch 4. I'm building for the next 10 years. He's 21 years old. I feel like the sky is the limit for Porzingis, so he rounds out my starting 5.
I think KP and Cat could be battling a little bit for your center spot as this goes along.
I'm going to play them alongside each other, stretch 4 and a 5.
And with my final pick, for drama's sake, and because we can't go 10 deep without LeBron James going. I know he's going to be old, but he'll be my wily, cagey vet. And I'll bring him up. He's got to go up to the big spots, to the power forward, to the center spot as his career goes along. I don't know if he'll make it this whole 10 years. He probably won't. But for the first 3 or 4, I'm in good shape.
Okay, when this theoretical 10-year period is over, LeBron will be 42. Little LeBron, Bronny, will be likely playing in the NBA at that point.
Does it work that way? Do I also get rights to the kids?
No, I do. That's gonna be later on in the draft. Okay, that was fun for us. Let us know what you think. You can comment on Facebook Live. Meanwhile, the Warriors are easily making the case as the best team of all time. They are a super team of the highest order. So we got to thinking, could a hand-picked all-star team beat Golden State?
Well, I did my best to handpick an all-star team to beat Golden State. And in this case, my first player that I picked here, it's going to be a little bit surprising. I mentioned before, even on super teams, you need role players. Avery Bradley. Give me Avery Bradley. His job is going to be sicking on Steph Curry. He can play offense a little bit, too. I actually think he's the best player on the Celtics. I think he's a better overall player than Isaiah Thomas. So Avery Bradley is the first guy I'm going with. My second guy in the backcourt is Jimmy Butler again. I can put him right on Klay Thompson. And this is what I did strategically, Maggie. I thought about defense first. Because all these guys I'm picking are star players. They can all score the rock. But how am I going to specifically match up against Golden State? And I want to be able to switch every position. I want to be able to really hound them on the perimeter.
Okay, so Avery Bradley on Steph and Jimmy Butler on Klay.
On Klay, yeah. Then I've got in the front court, you have to start going with some playmakers and the like. But Kawhi Leonard, of course, is going to be a part of this squad when you're going up against the Golden State Warriors. We already seen what he did in San Antonio in Game 1 until he rolled that ankle. So you got to have Kawhi Leonard when you're playing this team. I also put Paul George there with that length. Paul George, actually, if they go to the death lineup, I'd have him on Andre Iguodala. Kawhi Leonard is going to be my guy for Kevin Durant. And then rounding it out, LeBron James is the guy facilitating everything for me offensively. And I love the way he match up with Draymond Green, specifically defensively, if that's his only assignment on that end. So it's Avery Bradley, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard.
Okay, there's not a lot of holes I can put in this argument. It's a pretty good team. It's a very good team. Obviously, that's the point. I guess I would say you don't have a spot-up knockdown shooter. I mean, you have plenty of guys who can score.
Everybody can shoot. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
no one's deadly.
Because they're all on the Warriors. That's the problem.
All those guys are on the Warriors. But I do like this team. Avery Bradley was definitely a wild card, but if you do like him on Steph Curry, then you need someone to set the tone against Steph. And obviously Kawhi against Kevin Durant. We saw it for about a quarter in this playoffs, and it was working pretty well. So I guess comment out there on Facebook Live. What do you think of Robin's team? It's the Warriors versus the world. Who do you think wins? I'm actually still going to take the Warriors, even though your lineup is really amazing. But
I can switch every spot, remember. Except Avery Bradley can't really switch out on Durant.
I know, but we are watching a super team in the Cavs get destroyed by a super team of the Warriors.
Are the Cavs really a super team, though?
I think they are.
I don't know. I don't know if Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love are superstars. I mean, Kyrie is like a super role player. He's a super scorer. He's as good as it gets at that, but he doesn't elevate the team in other ways. And I think all of us kind of agree now, Kevin Love is a good player, but he's not a star player.
No. I mean, Kevin Love is really great. This matchup for him and the Warriors is not good. I mean, let's not discount what's happened in the playoffs since we got here. Kevin Love was playing really good defense. He was incredibly important to the Cavaliers getting this far. I mean, listen, the problem is about the super team with the Cavaliers is I'm not in love with the role players. You know, J.R. Smith has not been great. Iman Shumpert has not been great. Kyle Korver, Darren Williams, I could keep going. These guys have not been chipping in. And with Kevin Love not being a good matchup against the Warriors, it's really just LeBron and Kyrie. I disagree with you. I think Kyrie is superstar status. I mean, maybe I'm going back to Game 7 with the shot, but he is such a great playmaker, and I think he's there for me.
Plus, Tristan Thompson's getting out-rebounded by Steph Curry.
The role players have not been good, and that's why they're on the verge of getting swept. We'll see what happens tonight. Of course, looking ahead to the NBA draft. Yesterday, I caught up with UCLA Bruin TJ Leaf to talk about why his game translates perfectly to the NBA and what it's like to be best friends with Lonzo Ball. I'm now joined by TJ Leaf, forward out of UCLA. He was a leading scorer for the Bruins in his only season in Westwood. He's now projected to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Hey, TJ, we know you're in Denver, so I'm thinking that's team number 7 that you've worked out for. Who is left on your schedule?
Yeah, this is the 7th one. Been busy, but I mean it's been a lot of fun. After this one, I go to Utah, and then I go to Atlanta, then Miami, and then I'm all done.
Okay, you're probably looking forward to that. Describe what these workouts are like. Are you normally by yourself? Are you working out with other guys?
It's been different each one. I mean, just different based on the team. Some of them have been with other guys, and those have been really competitive and just going at each other a lot. And then the ones that are just more 1-on-0 or 2-on-0 have been just a little bit more conditioning, shooting, and just getting a better feel for your skill set. So, I mean, they've both been extremely competitive, and they've been a lot of fun, actually. So I'm really excited for these next couple ones.
Okay, so aside from the competitiveness, tell us how you differentiate yourself, because this draft class is just absolutely loaded, especially at your position.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many talented guys that I've been able to play against this year and even before that. I think what separates me a lot is just my ability to play multiple positions, my skill set, and my IQ. I have extremely high basketball IQ, and I think that helps me from a lot of other people. I think it just comes from playing overseas a little bit with the Israeli national team. I think it just comes from that I'm able to be a really willing passer, and I can pass the ball really well, and I can just do so many different things on the court that I think that's what separates me.
Yeah, let's talk about the Israeli national team. Your father, Brad Leaf, played overseas. When did you start beating him one-on-one?
You know, actually, I've never beat him because the one time that I was probably about to beat him, he quit and never played again. So, I mean, he was smart in that sense where he was never going to let me beat him. So, I mean, I think that was maybe 8th grade, 7th grade. I was beating him, and he quit halfway through the game, said he was hurt, and then never played me since. So, I mean, he was smart in that area.
I can't believe that he walked away from the challenge. How did he get such a distinguished pro career overseas by just putting the ball away and going home? That's really funny. Could your dad beat LaVar Ball one-on-one?
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to let that one go. I mean, my dad has a little bit more experience in basketball, but I'm going to have to maybe they'll set it up sometime and we can see for ourselves. But I mean, I really have no clue.
Speaking of Lonzo, he was at the Laker facility yesterday. He said he thinks he brings a lot of leadership to the team. Now, you played with him last year. You guys were both freshmen. We don't usually expect freshmen to be leaders of college basketball teams, but was Lonzo the leader of that Bruins team?
He was definitely a leader of the team. I mean, he's just such a natural-born leader, and he's a very extreme competitor and wants to win more than anything. So I'd definitely say that he was one of the leaders of the team.
You know, from the outside, he just doesn't seem that vocal. So I'm just curious, how does he lead?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is leading by example. I mean, on the court and to the public, he doesn't seem very vocal. But, I mean, in the locker room, you really can't get him to shut up. So, I mean, you can see both sides of it, especially being on the team. But, I mean, on the court, he's more of a quiet, reserved guy, and even to the public. But, I mean, when you're with him off the court and even in practice and whatnot, he loves to talk, and he definitely talks a lot.
Have they given you a free pair of shoes? I mean, you guys were teammates. You made it to the Sweet 16. I feel like you earned a pair of big ballers, didn't you?
I mean, I think I've earned one too. We'll see. Once they start shipping out, I assume there'll be one on my door, but I mean, we'll see about that. I'll have to talk with Lonzo and LaVar about that.
LaVar's become a little bit of a celebrity. He's been a little bit of a lightning rod. He's taken up a lot of time in this interview. You said you didn't take offense to his comments after the Sweet 16 that, you can't win with white players because white players are slow. Now, even if you didn't take offense to that, did people around you talk to you about that comment?
Yeah, I think a lot of people maybe took that comment a little much. I mean, LaVar's going to say what he's going to say. He's a very outspoken guy. And that's just who he is by nature. So, I mean, he's going to say what he's going to say. I never really get into that. I mean, I know LaVar, and I know he's not like that. And I know Lonzo, and me and him are really close. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people took that a little bit deeper than he meant it to be. But, I mean, it is what it is at this point. I mean, LaVar's going to say what he's going to say, and he just wants what's best for Lonzo in the end.
I assume through your travels, you're still watching the NBA Finals and looking at the Warriors. I mean, it's almost like we're watching the future of the NBA, which is what you're about to join. How do you think and how do you see your role in that future?
I mean, the Warriors play so up and down. I think that falls right into my hands. I'm a guy that likes to be able to run in transition, shoot a lot of threes, rebound the ball and go. And that's just exactly what they're doing. They're running, they're shooting a lot of threes, they're getting shots up, and they're playing defense as well. That's something that a lot of people don't realize about the Warriors is they play great defense. And, I mean, I think that plays into my hands perfectly. I mean, I'm very versatile, and I can play multiple positions, and I can run the floor and shoot threes just like how the Warriors do. Obviously, they're an incredible team right now, and it's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
That's great. TJ Leaf, we wish you all the best of luck. June 22nd, I'm sure can't get here soon enough for you. That's the night of the NBA draft. Hopefully we'll catch up with you soon once a team has selected you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Giants owner John Mara recently eroded the myth that Colin Kaepernick's play is why he is yet to find a new team, when Mara cited fan backlash as a reason the erstwhile 49ers QB is still unemployed. All this did was remind me of how out of touch the NFL can be. Yeah, fan backlash is a concern for the NFL regarding Kaepernick, but the backlash they should really be worried about is now coming from those who are rightfully upset that Kaepernick has been unable to land a job. Look, I'm not saying there wasn't a large contingent of fans obviously angry with Kaepernick's protest. To me, they were inexplicably way more mad with him than the issues he was protesting. But that's over and done with. Pandering to a small portion of one team's fan base who would be peeved with their squad signing Cap is now risking giving a broader portion of the audience yet another reason to question their allegiance to the product. From serious issues like head trauma and domestic violence to trivial ones like celebrations, the NFL seems increasingly behind the times, driven not by conscience, but commas. To serve this narrative that Kaepernick's play is the reason he isn't playing, when someone called Austin Davis just got signed, and Seahawks coach Pete Carroll himself said Cap was too good to be a backup, that's an insult to viewers' intelligence. And another reason for fans like me to consider how we're spending our time on Sundays. I mean, I've now heard Kaepernick's not good enough and too good to have a job. Yeah, that story really checks out. The NFL is King Kong. However, for the first time, it appears vulnerable to being knocked off the building. Hank Williams and his rowdy friends, they can't be the only fans you're concerned with if you want to sustain dominance. Are you ready for some football? For most, I'm sure the answer is still yes. But you don't want them to have to think about it. And don't even think about atting me.
That was really well put. Robin, we can see you guys on Facebook Live that you are weighing in on your team that you think would beat the Warriors, our Warriors versus the world debate. We like this one. LeBron James, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert, and Kawhi Leonard.
Anthony Davis and Rudy Gobert, how are you going to guard them? And given this series, you're still going with Kyrie? I mean, maybe last year.
I don't know about that. Okay, anytime that you find out someone is a fan of your favorite team, it feels like there's just an instant connection, even if that fan happens to be famous. In our segment, it's called Open Letter. We ask celebrities outside of sports to talk about their team. Watch this.
Hi, my name is Shane West. I'm from Awakening the Zodiac, which premieres June 9th, and I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. Born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that being our only pro team at the time, you were obviously, a Saints fan. One of the worst franchises, I think, of all time in football. We had the Dome Patrol, great defenses at times with no offense. But, we finally turned it around. We got Sean Payton, we got Drew Brees, and we had this miracle season that I never would expect to see it in my lifetime. I pretty much cried when we won the Super Bowl, like a little bit of tears, because I was like, well, I was happy that the New Orleans Saints made it to the Super Bowl. Sports teams have always proven themselves to be an important part of that town or that society or that country or that state. In our case with Katrina, which was obviously awful and such a disaster, that the fact that the Superdome took in so many survivors, the team of the New Orleans Saints had always been important to the city, but now it just stood out even more. It was tremendous, the response, and you can't beat the passion of the people in the state of Louisiana, especially the city of New Orleans, in the spirit of Bourbon Street and the French Quarter, just coming alive in a time that it needed help. I believe the Saints were the perfect way for the city to recover.
It's time for SI Now's Weekend Drive, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. First, we head to Belmont for the final jewel of this year's Triple Crown. The field is wide open with Derby winner American Dreaming and Preakness winner Cloud Computing choosing not to run in the race. Trainer H. Graham Motion is excited and surprised his horse, Irish Warcry, has been tabbed as the 3-1 favorite.
I never imagined when I left Fair Hill this morning that we would be favorite for the Belmont. I mean, it's a tough game. I mean, that's why all week at the Derby people say you're excited. It's hard to get excited when things can go wrong with these horses, and this is just a perfect example of how quickly things can turn.
This is Irish Warcry's first race since the Kentucky Derby, where he finished 10th. Next, we travel to Paris for the French Open. Yelena Ostapenko had never won a match at Roland Garros prior to this year, and now finds herself in the women's final against Simona Halep.
Clay is not my best surface, but I really love to play here because here the clay is a bit different from other clay. It's pretty fast, and I think it fits my game pretty well.
With a win, the 20-year-old has a chance to be the first Latvian player to ever win a Grand Slam. Lastly, we head to Cleveland for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Down 0-3, LeBron has done all he can for the Cavs, averaging a triple-double for the series. Here's James on having to reload with his team facing elimination and having only one day between games.
Is it an advantage? I don't know if it's an advantage, after this series, after this postseason, after how many, minutes and games I've played in. But, I'll be ready to go tomorrow once the game get here.
James has logged more minutes than anyone in the postseason, 130 more than any of the Golden State Warriors. And that's what's in store for this weekend. Well, spring, Robin, it's not just the postseason, it's also wedding season. And for one high school lacrosse coach in upstate New York, those two things are on a collision course. Hunter Bernard is the boys lacrosse coach for Westlake High School in Westchester, New York. His team has put together a miracle season to make it to the state championships on Saturday. That would be tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. The only problem, he'll be walking down the aisle at the very same time.
A true
Hunter
conflict.
Bernard, yes, a true conflict. Hunter, when did it first creep into your mind that this scheduling snafu may happen?
Well, we booked the venue back in October, and then right around, I would say, January and February, when the director of Section 1 was sending out all the important dates for the season, I noticed that there was obviously a potential conflict. But we had again already put our deposit down, so it was a gamble we kind of were forced to take, and unfortunately, it didn't really pay off for us. I mean, in one way, it didn't. In another way, we're happy to be in the state championship, obviously.
What if your player said to you, they're young, do they understand the nature of your predicament?
Oh, I've got such a great group of guys. They're so supportive. They've been very supportive. I know, they'd love to have me there. I'd love to be there, but they've been nothing but supportive throughout this whole process. So I can't thank them enough.
They're pretty mature for teenagers. I said before, this is a miracle season for Westlake. Can you just describe really how improbable it is that you guys are playing for a state championship?
I don't think anybody outside of our community or our team would have predicted this. We were pretty confident that we'd be playing in the section championship for Section 1 against Bronxville. We saw that coming a long time ago, and then we upset them, and we've been rolling ever since into the state tournament. So we got a big overtime win against Babylon in the semis the other night, and now we have Syracuse CBA, so it'll be a tough test.
Okay, wait. So this semifinal, though, 11-10 in overtime. So that's unique in itself. But also, Hunter, isn't this the first time that Westlake has ever made it to the state championship?
Yeah, well, this was the furthest we had ever gone. This program is young, only 9 or 10 years old. So the furthest they had ever gone was the quarterfinals and the sectionals. So it's our first section championship, first regional championship, and obviously our first trip to the state championship. So we're excited.
Now, you personally played Division I lacrosse at Rutgers. So did your soon-to-be wife, Ali Steinberg. What was her reaction when she found out that these two dates were conflicting?
She's been, we saw that over the past couple of weeks, the closer we've gotten to this, the more we've seen that this was a real possibility. But she's been nothing but supportive. She was, obviously a big-time player and coached varsity lacrosse herself. So she's been very understanding. I think a lot more understanding than most bride-to-bes would be.
Well, also, Hunter, you made the right decision, which is you're going to the wedding and not to the state championship, and that's also, I think, why she's so understanding. Listen, we're seeing this play out in the NBA Finals, right? Steve Kerr missed a lot of games for the Warriors for health reasons, but the team continued to steamroll. So are you going to have a final message for your team, and if so, what is it?
We talked yesterday after film just about how they have to come with the emotion that we brought against Bronxville and that we brought against Babylon in the semifinals the other night. If we play with passion, I think we're able to play with anybody in the state, and that's when we're playing our best. So it's really not about me. It's about these guys and what they've been able to do. It's really something special. It's about what they have inside of them. So.
All right, well, we'll see if they can finish the deal. Now, before I let you go, Hunter, we got to talk about our personal connection here. We're from the same small town, Binghamton, New York. I went to high school with Hunter's older brothers, Dustin and Anthony. His sister-in-law, Nicole, is one of my best friends for 15 years. She was one of my bridesmaids. I was one of hers. She's the one who sent me this story. I know your family. What did they say when you told them that the game and the wedding were happening at the same time?
Oh, they've been so supportive. They said, obviously, this would only happen to you. So they've been giving me a hard time a little bit, but, they've been very supportive with whatever, I have to do. So I can't ask for, obviously, a better family. They're great.
They are fantastic. Hunter's the littlest, the little bro. I can't believe you're getting married. That makes me feel old. But one thing also, Hunter, I know your family. I know your extended family, all the characters who are going to be at this wedding. This is going to be a fun wedding. There's no doubt about that.
We're looking forward to it. Yeah, We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time.
Wishing you all the best. Congratulations. Say hi to everyone there for me. Your mom, Carol, your dad, Jack, please say hi to everyone. And just wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, hon. Let's go Westlake. Come on, babe. We
All
can do
those
this.
connections. You should be coaching the team.
No. We'll leave it to the assistant coaches over at Westlake. I think they got this thing all wrapped up. And that's going to wrap up our week. And on a happy note, on a high note, a wedding and a team making it to the championship for the very first time.
Rings of all sorts this time of year.
All sorts and all sizes. Thank you so much for joining us this week as we close it out. Be sure to keep it locked to SI.com for all the latest news and follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.